Week 2 of my snowball plan. I open my email, and there's a notice from the DMV, car registration. Due in 11 days, $187. I stared at it for a while, because that $187, that was exactly the money I had earmarked for Capital One. This is what month 1 of trying to pay off debt actually looked like. Not the plan, the reality.
Quick context if this is your first video. I'm working my way out of $11,400 in credit card debt across 4 accounts. Last month, I ran the math on 2 payoff strategies, Snowball versus Avalanche, and picked Snowball. Smallest balance first, Capital One at $890, pay $365 a month, close it in 3 months, use that psychological win to build momentum. That was the plan. This video is month 1. Real account statement, real numbers, whether I actually did the thing.
So here's what $365 a month to Capital One looks like on paper. The minimum payment is $25. I was sending $340 on top of that. Starting balance, $890. Monthly interest at 22.49% APR, about $16.70. So, $890 plus $16.70 minus $365, that leaves $541.70 after month 1. Month 2, same payment, balance drops to around $189. Month 3, close it. Done. Clean. Simple. Completely theoretical, because nobody plans for the DMV.
The $187 registration notice landed on day 11. My first thought was, just pull it from the Capital One payment. Pay the minimum this month, catch up next month. That's basically what I've been doing with debt my entire adult life, treating the plan as optional the moment something real shows up. My second thought was, that's exactly why I'm still in this situation. So I didn't do anything for about 20 minutes. Just sat with it. Then I opened my spending for the month so far. Here's what I found. Day 11, and I had already spent $43 of my $60 takeout budget, 11 days in. I had $17 left for the rest of the month, and I hadn't even hit the point in the month where I usually start stress ordering. I also had a random $31 Target purchase I made the week before, a storage bin I didn't need that was still sitting unopened in my trunk. I'm not going to pretend this was easy, but those two things together, the unopened bin, the burned takeout budget, told me something. The $187 was a real, unexpected expense, but I also had real waste I hadn't dealt with.
Here's what I actually did. First, I returned the Target bin, $31 back on my card. Second, I went 3 weeks without takeout, not one order, not DoorDash, not Chipotle, nothing. My $60 monthly budget was at $43 spent, I had $17 left, and I just didn't touch it. Saved myself probably another $60 I would have spent. Third, I listed an old Bluetooth speaker on eBay I hadn't used since 2022. Sold it for $45. Shipped it in a box I found in my closet. So $31 from the return, $45 from the speaker, $17 left in the takeout budget I didn't spend. That's $93 I recovered. Still needed $187 for registration, so I was $94 short. I paid registration. I also paid Capital One. Not $365, but $271. $25 minimum, plus $246 extra. Down from the planned $340 extra. I came up $94 short on the plan. I'm telling you this because $94 short is not the same as giving up. I didn't raid the whole payment. I didn't skip the month and tell myself I'd double up later, because I know what double up later looks like in my life. I found $93, I paid what I could, I took the hit and kept moving.
Okay, numbers. Capital One, starting balance, $890. Month 1 interest charged, $16.63. Payment made, $271. Ending balance, $635.63. That's $254.37 paid down in 1 month. The plan called for $348.30 paid down. I came in $93.93 short, which means if I hit $365 every month from here, I close Capital One not at month 3, but at month 3 point something. The math still works. Month 2, I take it to about $281. Month 3, closed. Here's the exact math on that. Month 2 balance is $635.63. At 22.49% APR, that's $11.91 in interest for the month. I send $365. Balance drops to $282.54. Month 3, $5.30 in interest. I send $287.84, the whole remaining balance. Done. Month 3. That's the only version where this closes on schedule. If month 2 comes in short again, another registration, another target bin, another reason that felt real, the balance doesn't hit 0 in month 3, it hits $112.60. That's 4 months, not 3. So, months 2 and 3 aren't a buffer, they're the plan actually surviving. One bad week didn't blow the plan, it just required that I actually handle it instead of defaulting to charge it and figure it out. That's the thing nobody tells you about debt payoff. It's not a math problem. The math is the easy part. The hard part is what you do on day 11 when life shows up with a $187 bill and your instinct is to just absorb it into next month's problem.
Here's what I keep thinking about since month 1. Most people who've tried to pay off debt have a version of this story. Week 2 or 3, an expense they didn't plan for, and they make a decision. Absorb it into next month. Double up later. That's not a plan. That's the beginning of stopping. Not because one short month breaks the math, I just showed you it doesn't. Month 3 still closes. The problem is when just this once becomes the default response to every unexpected expense. When $94 short happens again next month and the month after. Run that scenario. $271 every month instead of $365. Capital One doesn't close in month 3. Month 3, you still owe $112.60. Month 4, you make a final payment of $114.71. 1 extra month in debt. $3.87 in extra interest. The numbers are almost insultingly small. But that's not the point. The point is I told myself I was going to do a thing. And if I absorb every unexpected expense into the plan until the plan quietly stops being the plan, I'm not paying off debt. I'm just delaying it with extra paperwork. Month 1 was a test. Month 2 is how I find out if that's true.
Month 2 starts now. Capital One is at $635.63. I'm sending $365. No excuses, no car registration, no bin at Target. Clean month. If you're running your own snowball or avalanche plan right now and something like this happened to you, drop the number in the comments. Not the full situation, just the number. How much did the unexpected expense cost you? I want to see how common this actually is. Next video, month 2 update. Plus, I'm finally looking at Care Credit. $2,340 at 26.99%. That one has a promotional period expiry I've been avoiding thinking about. We're going to look at it. Subscribe if you want to see whether I actually close Capital One in month 3. I'm filming it as it happens. See you then.